And so, again, a book that I'm very passionate about, 5 Love Languages. I'm sure you've heard about this. Receiving gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, different ways in which we communicate and receive love from one another. I can go on and on about the book. I can go on and on about the 5 love languages here. But here's the thing. When you're exhausted, when you're stressed, when you're tired, when you're burnt out, you don't have the energy to actually do this, right? There have been days when I've come home, Manisha's come home, and we're exhausted. I remember there were years when I would walk into the house at 6:30, 6:45, and she would walk into the house from work at 8. She wouldn't even go to the restroom. She would remove her shoes and she would go straight into the kitchen and start cooking without even removing without even a shower or office clothes, because it's 8 in the evening and cooking takes 1 hour or 1.5 hours or whatever, right? So just to make sure that we have dinner at 9:30, she would just come in, kick her shoes off, go straight into the kitchen and start cooking. So my point is, sometimes you may not even have the energy to, do all of this. But that's when you need something higher. That's when you need something in your tank, or something I call the love bank. So if you take a look at all our accounts, and I'm not talking about bank accounts, but the inner heart account, right? What does it look like? And what do you do when you run on empty? What do you do when your tank is low? What do you do when you're running out of energy? What do you do when you're running out of gas? What do you do when you're running out of fuel? And so what do we do with our phones? When our phones stop operating the way they're supposed to, or if they're low on battery, we know what to do with our phones. We take our phones and we go and we charge them. We don't toss our phones on the ground. We don't toss our phones into the bin. We take our phones and we make sure that our phones get a power source and they're getting charged up. I want to propose to you, that's what we should be doing with ourselves. When we recognize that our energy is low, or maybe we have had a tough day or a tough week or a tough season, it's always good to recognize and say, wait a minute, I'm low here. I need to get some energy. I need some power from the source. Which brings me to the next subject, the love triangle, something I'm super passionate about. Now, it doesn't matter whether someone's newly married or going to get married or been married for, like Manish and I have been for 13 years, it doesn't matter. But this whole love triangle thing applies. If you ask me the question, when did Manish and I have an argument, I'll tell you 48 hours ago. That was when our last argument happened. So there will be inevitable clashes and debates and arguments and all of that. That will probably not stop till the day we probably leave the planet. But here's the thing. When there is a clash, when there is a division, when there is like, oh, I don't want to talk to you anymore, I need some space from you, and we go through that kind of a situation or mindset, there is something that is inevitably true, and it's been true for me, it's been true for us in our relationship, and I want to propose this to you. Something I call the faith factor, or the love triangle. We have the husband on one end, we have the wife on the other hand. And if both of these individuals are going in the same direction, if both of these individuals are heading towards the Lord, then inevitably what will happen is they'll come closer to each other. And so that's what I call the love triangle, right? And why is this critical? Because at the end of the day, the faith that you subscribe to, the faith in the Lord Jesus, the faith in Him, in His love, in His grace, whatever you subscribe to is going to directly have an impact on your, no matter what your history or your blind spots are, your faith in Him is going to have an impact on that. Your faith in Him is going to have an impact on your core values. Your faith in Him is going to have an impact on your roots, your life source, your external influences. Your faith in Him is going to influence your decision making, the choice of friendships that you make, and so on. So I just want to encourage you. Your faith in Him will also decide and have an influence on what seeds you will sow. What are the seeds that you would? What are the seeds that you would sow into your spouse? What are the seeds that she's going to sow into you? What are the seeds that you're going to sow together as a married couple? So on that note, I want to end with this quote, and I leave this as food for thought with you. Everywhere you look, you see people searching for love. but they're looking in the wrong places. God is love. God is love, and they will never find what they're looking for until they have found Him. They will never find what they're looking for until they have found Him. Thank you for listening. More on the way. Listen to part 2 of this video. But in the meantime, I have a surprise.